here, um, from Dave and Laura and Suzanne. And I think this is, it's a strange format to be doing this in, as always, but it's a nice opportunity for us to come together to to celebrate her life, really. Suzanne put in those of you who read the obit, Suzanne said, I think it was Suzanne who wrote this, that the cause of death was a long, happy life. So um, this is that kind of event. But it's also Jewishly speaking, in particular, a bit different than normal. Normally, what would be happening at this time of after the passing is that the immediate family they would have already had the chance to bury Joby and to go through the funeral, and then they would be sitting Shiva. They'd be sitting with one another, and with a lot of you guys would have been coming around in person to be with them. And so this is what we're doing, kind of in lieu. They're talking about another celebration of her life, I think, later on, maybe after COVID, as far as I understand. But for now, what we're doing is we're combining two traditions tonight. We're really here for a Shiva evening prayer service, in which we'll say the Kaddish, the memorial prayer for Joby. But we're also adding some elements from the funeral service that would have happened. And so you'll see the prayer, God full of mercy, which is normally sung at the funeral. That'll be done at the end. And the other thing that is unusual, I think, about this particular kind of thing we threw together is that we're also going to have a chance to tell some stories and hear some stories about Joby. So, but before I say anything else, I think maybe let's kind of let the music talk for a second, and I'll sing Psalm 23. I'll give you some of the lyrics before I sing it in the Hebrew. It goes like this: The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He gives me repose in green meadows. He leads me beside the still waters to revive my spirit. He guides me on the right path. That is God's nature. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod, they comfort me. You prepare a banquet before me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לו אחסה, בינו דשא ירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינעלני. נפשי אשובת, ינחני, ינחני במעגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות, לא יירא כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן, תערוך לפני שולחן, תערוך לפני שולחן, כנגד צורריי. דשנת בשמן ראשי, דשנת בשמן ראשי, דשנת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב החסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. דה 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 Before we pray a little bit, by the way, you may hear some of my kids out there. They're just being put to bed. Before we pray it a little bit, I'll give a few words about Joby from what I've managed to pick up from Suzanne and Dave and Laura. Sounds like a firecracker. I've heard things like she was a tough broad. I've heard things like anything you say about her is true. I've heard things like she was the most honest person I knew. That's from her grandson, Sam. Her grandson, Sam, apparently said she was the most honest person, the most honest person he knew. I think there's a lot just in that. I heard she was a fan of Charlie Rose, and she would sit down. She would not miss Charlie Rose and the Scotch. She would sit down to watch Charlie Rose with for many years. She sounds in general like she was a very strong woman, a very strong mother in a male-dominated world. That's the generation she lived in. She sounds like a beautiful mother. a wonderful, loving mother, and a loving and wonderful grandmother. Um, she um, she was a loving and doting wife as well for many years, Irving, and and then there's all kinds of details that I think I better let the people who knew her better, because they'll tell the stories better. But it's all kinds of things about her. She's like a very eclectic, and she had a very eclectic and interesting life. She was this passionate woman who would who ran something called the Jewish Food Fair in her town in Illinois, in Bloomington. For many years, which people would drive from all over just to take part in and order the corned beef sandwiches. And she was in charge of hundreds of corned beef sandwiches and other things that she would do on an annual basis. She would take people. She was into the theater and the arts, um, and for over a decade, she would take people from Bloomington to uh, to New York to watch. I forget what it was. I think it's something like, 12 Broadway plays in 11 days or something like that. And she would do all the research and know which are the right shows to do and take people. Um, yeah, she was a well-read, but blue collar type person. That's I think Dave put it in those terms, you know. So she sounds to me like a person I would really have loved to know. Um, and Yeah, we're sad she passed it at 91, but we're also glad that she lived this beautiful life that she lived. May we all live such a rich and beautiful life. So here's what we're gonna try and do, and we're under certain constraints here with the Zoom world, and we're under, excuse me, certain constraints as well, with our kind of prayer book situation. So we're gonna kind of adapt a little bit, and uh, I'm gonna lead some prayers. I'll try and clue you guys in, because I know not everybody is familiar with the Jewish prayers, and even some of the Jews here may not be familiar with the evening prayers. Um, so I'm going to try and kind of talk us through some of them, and certain pieces of it we're gonna forego some of the words and allow ourselves to more connect with the general feeling of the prayers, maybe go in a more meditative kind of direction, um, than a liturgical direction in a few moments, in a few of the moments. But we'll start with the call to prayer. I invite you, if you like, to please rise. I'm going to try and do. And we'll sit back down shortly. Call to prayer, we simply bless God in God's name. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam vaed. Please be seated. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בדברו מעריב ערבים. בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, whose word brings the evening dusk. You open the gates of dawn with wisdom, change the day's divisions with understanding, set the succession of seasons, and arrange the stars in the sky according to your will. You create day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light. Eternal ruler, your rule will embrace us forever. Praised are you, Adonai, for each evening's dusk. Baruch atah Adonai amari v'avi. Avat olam bet Israel. Eternal love. Eternal love. Sit with eternal love. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Israel. My Israel, I invite you to close your eyes for a second. This prayer is traditionally said with our eyes closed, and we connect with the oneness of God and the oneness of all humanity, the oneness of everything in the world. You can take a deep breath. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and these words which I command you this day you shall take to heart. You shall diligently teach them to your children, recite them at home and away, morning and night. You shall bind them as a sign upon your hand, they shall be a reminder above your eyes, and you shall inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Then you will remember and observe all my mitzvot and be holy before your God. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. In this past week's Torah portion, the part of the Torah that we read every Shabbat at synagogue, we reached the part of the parting of the Red Sea, parting of the seas. And just as soon as the seas have parted, then the Hebrews are said to break out into song. And it's a happy song. It's a song of freedom. These are people who are freed for the first time in hundreds and hundreds of years. There's also an element of death, which is a type of freedom and a type of release. So we can connect to these words, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, Nora te'ilot, Oseh fele. These are part of the words that the Jews sang. Who is like you, Adonai, among all of divinity? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, amazing in splendor, working wonders? נאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Lay us down, God, for peace, and stand us up for life. Spread over us the shelter of your peace, and give us good counsel for your name's sake. השכיבנו, אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך. ושמור צאתנו, ובואנו לחיים ולשלום, מעתה ועד עולם. Keep us when we leave, and when we come, for life and for peace from this day and forever. ברוך אתה, אדוני, שומר עמו ישראל לעד. Blessed are you, God, protector of your people forever. What we'll do now is an approximation of what's called the Amidah. The Amidah means standing up, and traditionally it's a long prayer that is said with lots and lots of words. But I think we're going to kind of, if you have a prayer book at home and you would like to say the traditional Amidah, then pull it out and take a couple minutes and do that. And if you don't, I invite you to just kind of stand or sit silently, however you wish. But this is a kind of central piece of the Jewish prayer. All of the Jewish prayers, services, they all kind of come to this moment in which we're all silent together. So let's kind of be silent. The traditional prayer, I'll sing the beginning of the traditional prayer. It talks about the ancestors, and it invokes our ancestors. And what I invite you to do, what I invite you to do is maybe to think back upon Joby, upon your own people that you've lost, or your own ancestors, and bring them into the space. Today we're thinking about Joby. We're thinking about maybe we're also thinking about her parents, Lyle and Annette. So let's take a moment. If you'd like to rise. If you'd like to sit. But we'll take a couple minutes just to be in silence together. I'll kind of kick us off with the beginning of the prayer. Adonai שפתי תפתח. ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי לאה ואלוהי רחל, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה, אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. יעשה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, אם הוא אמן עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואם הוא אמן יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, 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 יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Thank you very much, everybody. It's beautiful to pray with you all. I think it's time for it's story time. Basically, it's time to hear some words about this beautiful person. Suzanne, I think, is gonna start us off. Just so you guys know the plan for the next little bit. There's a couple people who we know are speaking. I'll kind of introduce as we go, and then as soon as we're out of our the people we know want to speak, then we're just going to kind of open it up. And if people want to speak, try and wave your hand, or if you know how to chat me, you can chat me. Misha Schulman again, or you can, if you know how to raise your hand, there's a little function in Zoom of raising your hand. You can do that, but just try and make it known. Or if none of that works, just unmute yourself and say, "Hey, can I say something?" But let's start with Suzanne. Okay, so Suzanne, I pass it on to you.
Rabbi. So it's not, it's just not my mom that's passed recently. I've got a good friend, John, here. He lost his mother, and I know Cindy, you lost your mother recently. I hope I'm not missing other people who have lost a parent most recently, but it's just such a nice thing to do, to get together. I really appreciate, Rabbi, that you were able to do this with us. And so I wrote a little bit about Mom, and I think most everybody knows I'm Susie in Bloomington, actually. And Mom grew up as an only child in an apartment on Fell Street in Bloomington, Illinois. And the smell of oil paints and turpentine was wafting through the air all the time in her house. She always called herself a latchkey kid. She always let herself into her apartment because her mom and father both worked full time. And her mom was a portrait painter and made a living as a colorist using pastels at the local photo gallery called United Artists in Bloomington. And she went to U High and for high school, and so did my dad, Irving. And then she went to Illinois Wesleyan and received a BFA in painting, majored in painting. And she did a little summer session as a furniture designer at Cranbrook. And I've been posting this week because I didn't realize we were going to do this. And I thought I would post every day this week instead of sitting Shiva. And So I just posted some really fun stuff on her life at Cranbrook, a little saucy story about my mom, actually. But another fun fact about my mom, which I never quite could conceive myself, but is how she got pregnant with me. I know David has a whole other story about how she got pregnant with him, and he has his theory. But she got pregnant 3 months after having my brother, and I can't even fathom that. So probably by the time, by 6 months of pregnancy with me, our consciousness came together, and I think David and I grew up really as twins. At least it seemed like that for me, but because we were pretty much arm in arm all up until he got totally tired of having his sister tag around with him. But so there were 3 major areas that mom was like really, really was so meaningful for me. And one was the arts. And she kind of buried her art career in raising me, but had the joy. It was bittersweet because she had the joy of raising me as an artist, but she herself was denied being an artist, though she just was tenacious doing everything else in her life. And in terms of the community theater, she did set designs, and she was the president of the community players, and then she was the membership in charge of membership committee, and then she was the treasurer at one time. I mean, she had a long, illustrious life with the community theater. She did all the set dressings, and she had me do line readings with everybody. And I just loved going with her because she was so interested in anything creative, like any spirit of creativity she wanted to be around. So, like the rabbi said, she brought everybody to New York and saw all of these plays. So she actually demanded that, and I wanted to go to art. I thought I should go to art school, but she demanded that I get she's so funny. She demanded that I get a BFA and go to a liberal arts college just in case. That's what she would say, just in case you don't make it as an artist. So she just was very she was very worried about, so she made me take typing classes and all of these things just in case. I remember it's like, okay, all right, I'll do that. The other thing she would say, so spirituality was something that was really important to her. In the form of, she always told me she was a witch. She'd say, I am a witch, I'm a witch. And it was a little confusing as a little kid, because I was like, are you a good witch or a bad witch? I wasn't quite sure. And I'd ask her, what kind of witch are you? And she's like, you decide, and I'm like, okay, well, I could see both sides of that equation at any given time. So my favorite memory about mom in her in terms of spirituality was her friend Jo Dolly, she was the local astrologer and the biorhythm chart guru. I don't know if anybody ever had their biorhythm charts done, but she would come over every year, and she had she wore more necklaces and rings on every finger. And I never knew if her name was Jo Dolly was her last name, or if Jo Dolly was her name, but she appeared every beginning of every new year, and she would always do our charts. And mom would always say, Susie, you're ruled by the moon, so we always have to see what's going on in your charts during this time. And ironically, tonight's a full moon, so I think that was a sign from my mom. She'll be remembered at every full moon, actually. So I can't tell you how many people wrote here and there in the last week and talked about mom being a force of nature. And she was a huge force of nature, but she was also extremely practical, and she loved to garden, and really she loved to farm. And so she had this idea to create the Linden Street Organic Farm, and this was in the 60s. And she staked out 50 by 50 garden plots, and she rented them to people that wanted to garden. And so we grew up. I used to go with her to the garden every Saturday, and she grew sweet corn and green beans and peas. And then when we'd come home, my task was to blanch them. And so she's like, this is a 3-minute blanch. And I had to blanch all of these vegetables, and then we'd freeze them for the winter. And she always wanted to have fresh vegetables in the winter time. So that was my big chore. And to this day, I'm just like, it's amazing that she did that we took the time to do that. And that was just a really, really special time for us. So she was always coming. There was never a dull moment, and she never sat still. And she did so much stuff that for the family and for my father. And she really ruled the house. And you really could never combat Mom, because she set the tone, and the tone was sometimes minor chords, but she ruled the house. And I swear I'm gonna miss her. Right after she passed, David was with her, and I said, I want to see her. And so he put the camera towards her, and I said, put the phone up near her. And I said, hey, Mom, I want you to come back to me, but I want I want to know that it's you. So if you wouldn't mind, like, just appear as a bird or something, like just come to me as a bird. And so today I was down here and I was writing this, and I'm in my living room here, and I have a little terrace here. And then all of a sudden I heard a little, like, something against the glass, and it was like a cardinal. And I was like, wow, this is a cardinal, but a cardinal's a guy, isn't it? A red cardinal, is it a guy bird? And I was like, oh, well, that's just nice. That's a guy bird, and then all of a sudden its mate shows up, and I'm like, Irving and Joby just appeared to me this morning. And I was like, I just started laughing hysterically, because I was like, this is like in the middle of the winter, this cardinal and his wife showed up inside of my little terrace. And so I started laughing and said that I would be thinking about her all day, and especially tonight. So that's my story.
Thanks, Suzanne. That's so beautiful. Suzanne, can I tell them that that's not the only bird who's come to visit you?
No, I had mourning doves yesterday, right?
Right.
I wake up now and I'm like, there's mourning doves right outside my window. And so she took, like, I took her very seriously. I think she's taking me seriously. It's nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Michael Tick, I think it's Joby's first cousin.
It's our first cousin, yeah.
It's your first cousin. Okay, Suzanne and David's first cousin. Michael, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everybody. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, David. Hi, old friends. I'm thinking, let's see, of the four of us, five of us, Michael, Jeffrey, Stephen, David, and Suzanne, the five first cousins. I'm the oldest, so I should probably have the best memory, and I have many memories. As a child growing up in Bloomington, of course, my parents took us to the museums in Chicago quite often, and I remember I didn't think as a kid there was too much difference between the museums I saw in Chicago and going to Irv and Joby's house, because as I reflect, their home always seemed like a museum to me, filled with paintings and drawings and photographs and ceramics and textiles. And, for all of you that grew up in that house, it was just it was such a sensual, rhythmic place to be. And I remember vividly my Aunt Joby always holding court in that house and taking the time to explain to me as a young child all the artwork in that house. And I think that stuck with me. And I don't know, Suzanne, I didn't know that Aunt Joby tried to talk you out of getting a BFA, or maybe, you know, taking typing, because when I graduated from Northwestern years later with a master's in theater, I remember calling her and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I might move to California. And I did. And of course, I would see your parents at cousin Frank's house often when they came out to visit him. And one day at Frank's house, I said to your mother, well, I think I'm going to go either get an MBA and move back out east, or I'm going to apply for a doctoral program in theater at NYU. And she said, well, I'll make up your mind for you. You're going to apply for the doctoral program in theater at NYU. And I did. And she was a tremendous influence on me. I am a theater artist. I'm a dean of the Visual and Performing Arts College here at Syracuse University. And I really mean this. I don't think I would be doing what I'm doing today if it hadn't really been for Irv and Joby, who encouraged me in ways that my parents never did. They were very curious, always so curious. And, you know, I was on those ISU trips. That was great because I didn't have any money. So Irv and Joby always paid for me, and we would go to the theater, and we'd talk about the plays, and those are my memories growing up. So I think about her often, and I think about Irving often, and so that's all I have to say.
Thank you. So nice.
Thank you, Michael. I don't know. That's amazing. She changed your life entirely. It's pretty incredible. Beautiful. Barry Blinderman. Barry?
Mm.
You gotta unmute Barry.
How do we unmute?
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I could do it in pantomime. It's great to see all of you. And some of you I know, some of you I haven't seen in quite a while. I just got the notice that I would be speaking this morning from the lovely Suzanne. So you'll have to forgive me if I read part of this because I just got really into drafting it. So the last time I gathered with the Tick family in I would say in a synagogue, was Moses Montefiore in Bloomington, nearly a decade ago, to pay tribute to our beloved Irving. After David called me last week to let me know of Joby's imminent passing, after choking up, my first thought was of David's hilarious and spot-on impersonation of the elderly Irving during his unforgettable eulogy. Now he's up on the temple pulpit, right? This is a sanctified space. So here's David shuffling across the temple stage, spewing muffled expletives with total nonchalance. I think some of you remember that, right? I hope. Now that, my friends, pretty much nails the sharp and utterly irreverent wit that David most assuredly inherited from his mother. Joby had a keen artistic temperament and a mercurial one to the max. She did not, in St. Paul's words, suffer fools gladly. And in case you think I just stumbled into the wrong temple, I'll remind you that Saul of Tarsus was a Jew. Joby herself became a convert in the reverse direction, which, as we all know, results in becoming an uber Jewish mother. No one can imitate a converted Jewish mother. As cliched as it might sound, they broke the mold when they made Joby. As Susan said, no one will dispute that she was a true force of nature. And that's replete with its crazy polarities. She could pick out talent, and for those chosen ones, she fostered and promoted their talent unabashedly. As a Jew from New York, touching down upon the exotic terrain of my strange new prairie world, I was dumbfounded, believe me. I'd left New York to go to the epicenter of American culture. Irving and Joby embraced me, and I certainly appreciated Joby's wholehearted support. As Michael mentioned, writers, actors, jewelers, poets, sculptors, tinkers, and tinkerers of every stripe would congregate in their Bloomington home, which was actually more of an Italianate villa, where every room was filled with treasures by local and internationally known artists. I heard stories from Irving about all the Alexandra Calders and Joseph Cornell's they turned down at $300. Boy. Beyond their purchase of artwork, their profuse purchase of artwork by struggling artists, and their generous donations to University Gallery's Student Awards Fund. I was the director there, incidentally, for a while. They invited budding sculptors to forage among the heaps of refrigerators, washing machines, and automobile carcasses at Morris Tick & Sons scrap metal yard in South Bloomington. As you know, at least a 3-generation, if not a 4-generation family business, and allowed them to leave with a truck full of free material. And so I saw artworks all over town that had bits of the Tick scrapyard utilized in their making. When I brought in the infamous LSD guru, Timothy Leary, to ISU to participate in a conference on virtual reality in 1990, his first evening engagement was a lavish dinner at the Tick household, all curated and prepared under Joby's watchful eye. Every guest tuned in with glee, without any enhancement, no pharmaceuticals there, a little bit of wine. And then, who can forget that summer cottage on Lake Bloomington with pontoon rides navigated by the faithful Irving in his captain's hat? And David has assumed that now. I met Suzanne and David there. I visited Susie often on my trips to New York, marveling that I was in the company of one of the most talented and successful art entrepreneurs one will ever know. The new carpeting that we put in the offices of university galleries were designed by Suzanne. Where might Susie have received the seeds of that talent? Perhaps from a mother trained at the renowned Cranbrook Academy of Art, which is one of the premier design schools in the United States, if not the world. Okay, I could fill a book. I told Susie this. I could fill a book with Joby anecdotes. I mean, so for the sake of brevity, if indeed this is brief, I will choose just one. As mentioned, in her late middle age, Joby became a most unconventional travel agent. In 1990, she concocted an incredible and ambitious 4-day travel experience. She asked me to lead a whirlwind art tour of Paris, not New York, guys, not Chicago. I did all those. Al Goldfarb and I, he's not here today, we would organize all these art and theater trips that Joby put together with a bus with a microphone that Al and I would share, talking on the way back about what we'd seen. Anyway, no, this is Paris. Our bus first stop was at Notre Dame, where we heard Dominican monks chanting. It was just, I mean, I had like 2 hours of sleep, and this was incredible. So the tour I set up included the Rodin Museum, the Picasso Museum, Monet's Garden at Giverny, the Musée d'Orsay, the Orangerie, and of course, Louvre. Now this is all in 4 days. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 4 days. I roomed with Carl Cortez. I wish he were here today. So Joby at each stop timed to the minute, caring little at times whether she was interrupting any of my heartfelt art history lessons that she'd asked me to do for this free trip, right? So as not to delay our arrival at the next stop. So she allotted me no more than 1 hour to tour the entire Louvre. Anybody been there? It ain't the Bloomington Historical Society. It's pretty big. So, wow, what to do? You know, I mean, you can't even get near the Mona Lisa there, right? So here I am in the middle of waxing eloquent in front of the winged victory of Samothrace. Undoubtedly and undeniably one of the most famous Hellenistic sculptures in the whole world. And here we are, we're looking at her without a head. So approaching from a nearby room, trotting along at a volume I would not describe at all as a library voice, Joby blurts out, "Bear, that's enough already. We're already 10 minutes late for the jeu de paume." That's it.
Thank you, Barry.
I hope you liked it. I did it for you and David. You didn't know that Paris story either. I never told you, did
I
I?
never heard that one.
I've never heard it either. That's all. But I believe it.
Huh?
I said I totally believe it.
Oh yeah, it's all true. What a trip.
She kept you on your toes.
Oh my God. Well, look, I was one of those chosen few, so I was really glad. Happy to be in her company. She ran the arts in Bloomington Normal.
Incredible. That's very funny. So, anybody else want to tell some stories? That one's kind of hard to beat, but
I will go ahead and jump in.
okay, thank you.
As my brother said, he's the oldest of the five of us, first cousins that grew up together, and I'm the youngest. So I may not have as many memories or stories to tell, but I'm so I wasn't part of the art world. When I walked into Aunt Joby and Uncle Irv's house, I guess there was art. I don't know. I was 6, 7, 8 years old. But what I remember the most is we went there oftentimes for Pesach or to break the fast or just to have a big family dinner. And I remember walking in the door of this house, and right in front of us would be this dining room table with everything set and the food, and Joby would be going back and forth, bringing food out to the table, getting things ready for this feast. And I just remember that it was one of those big family events, and our family wasn't without a little bit of controversy here and there. Whose isn't? But it was one of those things that I remember is you'd have this huge family feast that you read about in Norman Rockwell stories, or that you hear about and you remember as a child. And she took such great pride in making everyone feel comfortable and have enough food and have enough wine or juice or whatever it was. And she just loved to entertain and make sure everybody was happy. And I especially like the conversations going back between Jobs and Irv. Jobs, did you get the bread? No, I've got it. And it just, but it was so comfortable. It was like a second home for me. And then the last thing I want to say is I loved Aunt Joby very, very much. And Susie, you did for a while, but you stopped. I think David, you did, but Aunt Joby called me onions. And she was really the only person on this planet who ever called me onions. She gave me the name. I don't know why, but gosh, I just wish I could hear onions one more time. So I will miss Aunt Joby very, very much. and David and Susie and Gabe, Jake, Sam, and everyone else on here. I'm with you. I'm sitting right there next to you, and I love you all very, very much.
Thanks, onions. Hey, Annie or Lisa, do you want to say anything from the?
I have to now.
Oh, good. I wanted you to, Anne.
You know, I'm not sure. Anyway, hi, everybody. I've had like just flooded with memories of Joby and things she said to me, and oh my God. Okay, I really have to pick something, and okay. So one summer, Joby asked me to paint the cabin at the lake. And it was probably, yes, Susie, you were helpful. It was probably 1970s something, I don't even remember, but she wanted a beige tan color. And so she would send me to, what was the name of that paint place in Bloomington? Ugh. She'd send me to this, I don't know, to the paint
Peyton Place. Peyton Place.
Was that it?
Peyton Place.
Yeah. And you couldn't buy little samples, so I'd get a gallon of paint and I'd take it and she'd go, just not right. Go try another color. So I'd go back to Peyton Place and I'd get another gallon of some off-white paint and I'd bring it back. So we did this back and forth probably 4 or 5 times. Finally, she decided on a color and I painted the cabin, and I guess sometime later, I think this was a couple months later even, she and I were standing, or maybe we were near the dock, like between the dock and the cabin, and she said to me, you know, the cabin's 2 different colors. And I looked up at the cabin and I was horrified that it truly was 2 different colors. I had gotten the paint mixed up and I thought she was going to have me repaint the whole thing. And she said, it's artistic. And I was very relieved. So I'll leave you with that one. She was a blast.
Oh, thanks, Anne.
You're lucky that you got away with that.
Oh my God. David, are you going to say anything?
Yeah, I'll say something. I just was gonna let everybody else do their thing. Johnny Hamilton, you wanna say anything? You dealt with her a long time.
He's trying to unmute.
I do want to say something. First of all, we pretty much lived with you guys while you were out at the lake, and our kids have such great memories of David being really cute for the girls and Susie laying on the dock, and they just sat there and looked at her because she was so amazing to them. And David would take them fishing. And Irving and Joby always loved us. And everybody who says Joby was honest is right. She would tell us off without a hesitation, but you knew it was with love, and it would piss you off, but generally you knew it was with love. And we have just wonderful memories. And everybody who spoke about the house on Vale Street is absolutely correct. It was an amazing house. But Irving and Joby both were very loving for the Hamilton family, and we appreciate that. And thanks so much for inviting us to this event.
Thank you.
Pictures of the house?
Yeah, we have pictures.
I wanted to, John and Kathy were mom and dad's accountants for 40 years. So they lived through the thick and thin of the Tick household. I mean, through the thick and thin. It was incredible. So Hey, is there
Well,
any-
Irving came in the office nearly every day for some reason or another. And so, yes, we did live through a lot of that. I learned, remember, I was about 15 years old when your dad hired me. So I learned very, very much how to deal with that type of personality, and was able to practice more effectively because of everything I learned from Irving, especially.
Tommy, you want to say anything? You brought her to Tucson. You picked us up at the airport. Is that a no?
No, I'm gonna say something now since you called me out.
Yeah.
Well,
Just doing okay.
that was nice that I think his name was Barry was talking about how Joby was, and I always called the short story on that no filter, and and David is now in charge of that. I remember that when Susie and David flew in, I can't remember if Laura was in there too, if it was just Susie and David flew in with Joby. I went down to the airport in Tucson, picked him up, and for at least half, it's 40-minute drive, and for at least the first half of the trip, all she talked about was she was in front with me, and Susie and David were in back. Thank you, by the way. And they were, the whole time she talked, she said, boy, Tucson is really ugly. It's really bad here. I do not like the way this looks. And I'm driving, I'm just the chauffeur, right? So that continued the whole way to David's house. But I did get to act as chauffeur once. That's my story.
Yeah.
Much appreciative. B, go ahead, B. We're not hearing you. No, we're not hearing you.
Turn your volume up.
Turn your volume up.
No, her.
No, she's not. She's not.
I don't think she's broadcast.
She's not.
You also don't have to yell, Dave.
Sorry.
Oh, that was Sam.
Still no.
Oh, cool.
Sam, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll step up and just yeah. Is my camera on as well? Or just Yeah, I'll speak for Jake and Gabe. We definitely all have horror stories, borderline horror stories. But I don't know, me and Joby had like this kind of special click. So for her and me, we always had just hilarious back and forths. But for anyone that didn't experience Joby, I'll just keep it short and say, it's already been said, but it's David 2.0, or it's Joby 2.0 is David. So everything, you know, her antics, her mannerisms, she passed it all right down to David, who passed it all for sure down to me. So there's an interesting lineage how Joby travels through all of us. And if anyone needs to experience Joby, just give David a call. And that's a friendly reminder just how amazing she was. So I'll share that. She was an amazing lady though. Thank you for everyone who spoke too. And Barry, you always look sharp. So I'm trying to be you one day.
I'm in LA now. I gotta keep up a reputation.
Anybody
Anybody else out there want to say something? Barb.
Barb, yes, Barb.
Yelling.
Alyssa, do you want to say something?
Well, I'll finish this off if nobody else. Barb, are you there? You don't want to? Shake your head. I'm looking right at you.
Alyssa, did you want to say something?
Suzanne,
saw
are
you
you talking to me?
Yeah.
Hi. So, well, I didn't know your mom, but
Okay, there we are.
we have amazing sort of similarities. We're exactly the same age, and we lost our moms in very short years from each other. And you know, it's amazing to see your family. I've never seen you ticks before, and I recognize what I love about Suzanne and all of you, and I really wish you well in this time. It's a very special time for families.
Thank you. And
Okay, I think I got unmuted, you guys.
thanks, Alyssa. Before you say anything, Alyssa, was your mother a portrait painter?
Was.
Yeah, so there's a nice connection there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that you have this sort of art thread that is passing through.
Best pun of the night.
Yes. a weave and a warp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warp and a weft.
Yes, a warp and a weft, excuse me.
Thank you.
David.
I have Barb. Barb's gonna go.
Okay, so I can remember the first time I met her. I was in college. I had just started dating Alvin, and I had never met anybody quite like her. She wowed me that night. And I'm just so glad that I got to be part of her life. I was in book club with Joby for many years, and that was a hoot. Imagine book club with her and Diane Mishler. But I read things I would never have read. One of the funnest nights was when she brought her scrapbook from being a Mitzi, because we had read a book that talked about the sororities that girls used to be in. And we laughed so hard that night. But then I got to spend the part of her latter years with her when I joined Westminster. And that, I have to tell you, I negotiated a lot of issues between her and the staff. That's probably the best way of saying it. I can remember one when I was in her apartment trying to convince her she could not cuss out the staff. And she was making a point to me that how would you feel if somebody's sitting in your bathroom while you're taking a shower? And I said, well, Joby, you still can't cuss them out. She goes, eh. I said, well, Joby, at least you're hearing it from a friend. And she goes, well, at least you used to be one. But I can remember the day, Susan, that you came and got her. And when I said goodbye to her, it was great to see her in Arizona too. But she drew me in. I was not from Bloomington, and she just drew me in. And I'm so glad I got to know her and be with her.
And you talk about Joby telling the truth all the time. The last time I saw her, we were out in Tucson.
So
we were in the nursing home, and she looked at me and she goes, "You're black."
Yeah.
And how long did you know Mom?
And David said, yeah, and they're married, Mom. And she goes, well, isn't that cool?
But really, when I think about you guys and your family, the word that comes to mind is inclusion. I mean, I can remember so many times around that dining room table and out the lake, and just getting together in the conversation and sitting with the older folks and have the conversations that would be going on there was just unbelievable for a junior high school kid to hear. So I mean, it was a lot of great times, and I'll definitely miss her.
Yeah, Alvin, you were over all the time.
I got something, if I might interject. I told Suzanne this the other day, that kind of fits with this You're Black. So Joby had seen my daughter Leah many times. She's 24 now, about to get married. But there were years in between. I guess when Leah came for your dad's memorial, she just looks at my daughter, who's quite diminutive. I mean, so am I. And she just looks at her and stares at her. You're short. And he said, yeah, we know that. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Can I say something, Suzanne?
Sure, Les.
Hey, okay, so I never met your mom. I never met your mom, but you always made a point of calling her and putting her on speaker. And I could hear her voice. And it was fun memories. And then we would laugh. And then I'd put my mom on speaker and we'd be drinking wine and we would laugh. And so that was just a nice memory that you would always say, Les, I got to call my mom. I'm going to put her on speaker. And then you would be trying to explain where you were. And we would be having your chicken, your half a red onion, your, very specific on your food. And I'd be eating Oreo cookies and your mom would be asking about where you are. And then we would hang up and then we'd get my mom on speaker and then we'd sit on the sofa and we'd crack up. So those are some nice memories of your mother, Suzanne, and I'm sorry.
I love hearing that. I remember very well being in LA with Manhattan Beach with you and doing that.
Just being on the top floor and listening to your mom, and those are fond memories I have.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Les.
Can I say a couple things?
Marky.
Yeah, I just jotted down some things as we went through this process tonight. This is what Joby was to me. She was a mother figure. She really was. I've known her since I was like 6. And really throughout my whole life, I spent time with her. She was a teacher. She was a hell of a cook. She was a chef. Many, many meals that I had sitting down at the tick table. She was a confidant and a counselor. I think she knew more about my love life than I did. At times, she was a drinking partner. Sometimes that was good and sometimes that was bad. She was also a parent, obviously to you two, but somewhat to me at times as well. She was an employer at times, her and Irv both. I can't tell you how many jobs over the years that I had between her and Irving. You're right, at times she could be a witch. And you didn't know if it was a good one or a bad one. You're exactly right, Susie. But most of all, she was a friend. And I don't mean to say was, she always will be. And I appreciate that.
Thanks, Mark. It's so nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know we were all family, for sure, at dinner table. Whew.
Thank you, Marky. Appreciate it, bud. Hey, Jacob Bosses, you guys want to say anything?
Me?
Plus, if you want to say something.
Oh, am I? I don't know.
Yeah, you're on.
I'm on?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were muted. Are we muted? No.
No, you're on.
Okay, I have used Zoom before. I was driving from Madison, so I just I was listening on the car radio, so that's where we're a little disorganized here. Okay, well, she was definitely one of a kind, and my, we've had every summer with the kids together with David's kids. And
play your voice.
Pardon? Yes.
Right here, and, like go like this.
I think all of our kids learned a lot of words that we didn't necessarily use, as you can all imagine. And but she's such a character, and they always thought it was really cute that the Ticks and the Beatles lived next door to each other down at the cabin. And I'm really thrilled that she's going to be down at the cabin and helping to grow a tree. I think that's a lovely, lovely tribute. And it's nice to feel like we're going to get to visit her every summer, just like we always have.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Beth. Good to see you too.
You too.
I think John wants to say something.
Yeah, John's hands up.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's Lisa.
Oh, Elisa.
Hey, you silly heads. I love you like I loved you in 8th grade, 9th grade, you know? Like too many good times. And your mom was a piece of work, you know? But she loved us hard, right? Like my mom loved us soft. Your mom loved us hard, so we became the best of both. I think you and me, Suze, right?
Yeah.
We did. We had this, and it was a gift. It was a gift. And like Mark, she employed the shit out of me. Sorry, cussing online. And you know, she just taught me to be tougher than I already was, you know? And I kind of like that because it's a gift as a woman. And what we've had to go through in our lives, in our business lives. And she was an advocate for us, right? Do you agree?
Yeah, being strong women.
Yeah, she really was. And so John's like combing my hair because I look like crap, but the shower didn't happen today. It's COVID. But I love you both so much. I love your kids. They don't know me as much. I love your cat. I love Gabe. I mean, you know, I just feel really connected to y'all, and I always will. And
Thanks, Lisa.
I loved your mom. I loved your dad, and thanks for letting us be a part.
Thanks for getting on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right.
You're supposed to look down here.
Oh, I'm supposed to look down? Okay.
Right?
Since Mark already kind of cried and he got me going already, I'll try to finish this off with a little bit of fun. This is gonna be tough. Mom and I were pretty inseparable. She knew everything I did from day one. And we shared everything. All my buds, from Mark to Heine to Porky to flipping every youngster that went through that house, we just always went through Mom. She was a rock. We all loved her mainly because she was the cook. I mean, Mark and Heine and I and whoever else was out hunting, we'd bring back rabbits, we'd bring back 50 fish. She'd stay up till 2:30 in the morning cleaning fish with me. I had no idea when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 that she drank, but she stayed up with me till 2 o'clock in the morning, and she cleaned those fish like there was no tomorrow. And she was incredible. Next day, we have a fish fry of 50 fish. She'd fry them all up. She'd do squirrel. She'd do rabbit. She'd do everything. Sure, her mainstay with all of us was her food, that she just loved to have the kids over. And it was always an open house with Mom. She was just, it was so cool because we could go there. But as Mark alluded, she knew more about our love lives than we did. I mean, our table was a counseling table for every young girl in that flipping town. Susie held court at Vale Street, and then all the guys would come over, and I mean, seriously, there'd be 10, 12 girls around the table. Then we'd come in and Mom would lecture us. I mean, Mom would lecture us and tell us how we didn't treat these girls right. So she also told me from age 10 to never trust a girl or a woman. They would entrap you, but that's mom. She held no punches. And it was from then on all the way up. So I go in, I get a call on Thursday from Mary Lou, and she said, David, it might be time. So I go to her little house. There was 8 people there. 3 had actually died since Christmas Eve. So it was very small, everybody had their own private room. So she let us slide in and we went right into the room. And there are 3 Filipino ladies who were just the most incredible caregivers that took care of mom. And I walk in and a new one was there. She was just adorable. And she looks at me, she goes, your mother. I said, yeah, what'd she say or what'd she do? Because I had no idea what was gonna be said. She says, God damn it. She said, your mother said the word, God damn it, God damn it, God damn it, 24/7, especially when they got bathed. So that's what all the assisted living people kind of called her, God damn it. So anyway, it was very funny. And I told them, and they realized that it went in one ear and out the other, like it did with all of us. She would yell at Mark. She would cuss Mark out. She would cuss Heine out. She would cuss us all out for not being the gentleman that we were supposed to be. And there were many times where her cussing at one of my friends, there was great rebuttal. And it was taken in stride and she just took it. And a lot of times she kind of shut up, but then she just said, she would make some snide remark and you'd know that, you know what, mom probably was a little bit right. She probably overstepped her boundaries a little bit like I do. And that's the way we are. I got absolutely zero artistic ability from anybody in my family. I mean, I can't draw a stick figure. So, and my mom, and she took us to the community players. Every time there was a new play, we were at I don't know how many times I saw Gone with the Flippin' Wind or Oklahoma. My God, it was just, every other year it was on. So, and then all the Shakespeare stuff at Ewing Castle, we were going, and I didn't understand a dadgum thing. And I just went for the food and to check out the little girls, for God's sakes. Mom and Dad were just, wanting us to learn and get culture. So, Steve and I was kind of with you on the house too, because half the time I didn't know what was going on in that household. So it was kind of fun. Every time I'd come home, I'd go upstairs, I'd walk in the door and I'd go in and I'd see a new piece that Dad always and Mom, they would always do to help the young artists in Bloomington. And they had a new piece literally every time I would come home, and I'd just say, who's this? Da, 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 da. And so it was really neat. It was a very, very unique house, and it was a wonderful upbringing. Whew, sorry. But it was very caring. Andy Farley, you were an absolute saint, from bringing my grandma and back from Ruskin, Florida, with my mom, cleaning out her house, working for Mom every flipping summer. You were incredible, and I love you for that. And Ann's got more stories than probably almost anybody, especially in the 70s. It was unbelievable. So anyway,
can I speak now? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I'm on my phone. I just have to speak for 1 minute, please.
Yes.
Can I speak? I'm on my phone now. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi there, everyone. For those that you don't know me, my name is B. My real name is Ann. My mother was best friends with Joby. So of all these people in the room, because I'm 64, I think I'm older than Michael, I have to tell my story. It's very unique. I lived on Fairview Street. And for those that don't know, Irving had a brother, just one sibling, and it was Eddie. So Eddie lived about 6 houses on Vale, on Grove, and then the Irving Ticks lived around the corner on Vale. So I was in the middle, and my parents were best friends with both Ticks. So, right? So we have Bunny and Eddie with the 3 boys, and then we have Irv and Joby over on Vale with the girl and boy. So I was the tag along. I was an only girl, and my 3 brothers went out. So I was the one who was on the skirts of my mom, and I spent my probably since diapers being with Joby and Ann. Okay. And they were a pair. And we all know my mom. She was a character and they used to drink. But I just want to share something that knowing Joby as a young child, I mean, as a child, and then I went away to London when I was 17 and Joby encouraged me and I did there and came back years later. So I'm 32. So what am I doing? I'm hanging around with my mom and Joby. So as life progressed, I was the driver and I went everywhere in adults. And all the stories that you tell me are absolutely hysterical because they are so true. My mom was a great swimmer. We always went to your cabin. I think it was on Tuesdays. Poor Joby. On Tuesdays, once a week, she would have us. Okay. My father, they got divorced when they were 12, but he was very big in community players. So I saw 2 sides of a relationship. My dad, this German dictator, and Joby, they loved each other and they would get into huge fights. So Susie, when you were in the theater, I was a little bit older and I would be like hanging out in the dressing room and had to paint the sets and everything. So anyway, I loved your mother. Here's just some really quick things because I know everyone's tired. My mother didn't cook. She did quantity, but not quality. So I would go over and hang around on Joby's apron. She always wore this apron or something like that. And I would say, I want to help. Well, boy, she would direct me and I loved it. She taught me how to work in the kitchen. I was a kid who would do anything. I was thrilled this lady would do that. So it was wonderful. I had such wonderful memories. So here's the one memory I want to share. I always knew that Joby wasn't born a Jew. Why? Because my mom told me that. Okay. But she was a convert and she was incredible. So this is fast forward. I'm at Michael's bar mitzvah. We're on Vale Street. I had gone to the temple. I had gone through this whole process of watching Michael learn Hebrew, etc. I had a new dress. I'm over in the brother's house of Irving, which is Eddie and Bunny and the Tick Boys. And of course, your family is there. And I have a dress and they're giving champagne. And I just said, I didn't know my mom drank. I was only 12. I didn't know. And I said to Joby, gee, can I have some of that juice? And she said, honey, it's not juice. Take a sip. So I took a sip. But here's the biggest thing to go way back. Michael had $3,000 cash pinned to his suit. Now, this is in 1968. I had never seen that much money. He had that black suit on and you pinned it with the safety pins. And Bunny said, B, why don't you go up and help Michael take the money off his suit? I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what happens at bar mitzvahs? I'm just a simple Methodist, right? So I go down the stairs and there's Joby. And I said to Joby, I swear, Joby, I want to become Jewish just like you. And he laughed. But I send love to all of you from my father and my mother, my brothers, my family. My mother passed away 2 months ago, and she was 100. So she was about 9 years older than Joby, and they were the best friends. But to end this story, I have a great memory. I would walk into your house. It was a museum. It was beautifully decorated. And Joby would always be bustling around. And she had this appointment book that she had so many meetings. She had so many things. You guys were right. She was like a mentor to me, how she did it all. She was an amazing person. I send love to all of you. Joby will always be in my heart, and Irv and Bunny and Eddie and all of the Tick children. So God bless you. And thank you for letting me speak and be a part of this.
Thanks, B.
One of a kind. One of a kind. No one can fill those shoes. And look how talented and educated and wonderful you all are. That your mother was like a Hollywood star. She was. She's our star. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adorable.
Thank you. David, were you done, or should I lead us into Kaddish and close out?
Go ahead, Rabbi.
You sure?
Yo, I absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, this was fun. So I'll sing the God Full of Mercy. It's kind of a goodbye. It's kind of a letting go, and we're hoping she's in Gan Eden, in the Garden of Eden, up in heaven, stirring some trouble up there, making it interesting. If you'd like to stand, you can stand. We'll do I'll sing this, and then we'll say the Kaddish together. El male rachamim shochen bamromim אמצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה. במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, את נשמת ג'ובי בת ליל וענן, שהלכה לעולמה. בגן עדן תהא מנוחתה, אנא בעל הרחמים, הסתיריה בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן. I'm gonna share my screen with the words of the Kaddish. 1 second. You got it in the Hebrew here, and in the English, I'll put the transliteration. I think that's easier for people. And where if you're one of those people who has lost a loved one recently, so please speak their names. And I invite you to please rise. And those of you who are in mourning, David, Suzanne, in particular, immediate family, I invite you to speak the words out loud with me. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריך הוא, לעילם עם כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. Thanks, you can be seated, and thank you all for this beautiful evening. Feel like I'm getting to know her a little bit. And I did get to chat with David a little bit, so I feel even like I'm even her living embodiment. It was wonderful to be with you all. God bless. We say Hamakom Yenachem. May the place. That's the word we use for God when we offer condolences to people. And mourning is the place. May the place comfort you among all of the mourners of Jerusalem.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi.
Thank you so much.
God bless everybody.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
God bless.
So appreciate you doing this, Rabbi.
Of course, of course.
God
bless you, Tix.
God bless you, Tix.
God bless you. Nick. Love you.
Love you.
Suzanne and David.
Hi, Donna. Hi, Stu.
Mary Mills.
Wonderful to see you all.
It was great to see all 5 of the ticks. Whoa.
Is Martha still on here? Martha Jacobasi?
Here we are. David, yes, David. David.
Sorry, I was gonna have you say something if you wanted to.
Oh.
I forgot, I also have this. I gotta show this to everybody. Martha and Mom grew up with each other, and they have been sending a birthday card back and forth
Oh.
together
For years.
Wow.
1990.
1990.
Every year, and it's got all the years marked on it. And so Martha,
Love you.
and we got all the cards, that you had sent Mom. She kept every single one of your cards the last 6 years.
Thank you, David. He can't hear me. No.
He can.
I can hear
He can hear you.
There was only one Joanne. And to me, she was Joanne, not Joby.
Oh, nice.
One in a world.
Yeah.
Special lady. Amazing. So avant-garde. Think of it. I mean, she really, truly was. She affected me in so many ways. You know, she was truly so special. You guys are blessed. God bless you.
Yeah.
Off topic, Laura, I love your hairstyle.
Who? Oh, COVID. Everything's COVID.
And we'll
I
see
have
you
a
on
sign.
Broadway.
I have
Hey,
a sign
Ben, we'll
for COVID.
see you, and we'll see you at the beach, I hope, huh?
Yes, God willing.
Yeah,
God
Pamela,
willing.
see you. Good to see you. Thank you both for coming on.
Hi, Danny.
We're privileged to share this with you, Suzanne. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
Suzanne, thank you for including us. That was lovely.
Yes, Suzanne, thank
Great.
you for.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Harry, where are you?
Thank you.
Oh, there you are. Harry.
Oh, there you are. Hi. This is Hollywood Squares. Hey, thanks for letting me know about this. And so good to see you. Look, you did inherit the art. You inherited the art of stand-up comedy, and that's really something. And the rest she passed on to your sons.
I think Samuel said it best, David, where Joby passed down all the bluntness to the David and then to Sammy. It dawned on me as I'm listening to all the stories. I think the first time she saw Elaine and I, it was your punchline, like, what's your story? So I think that bluntness will never leave here. And I think it's past your bedtime too, if I'm not mistaken.
Love you, Suzanne. Thanks for having me, sister.
Hey, love you too, Leslie.
Come
We'll talk
see us.
soon.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Thank
Love
you, guys.
Thanks.
Good night, everyone. God bless you till we gather again. Better days are ahead.
Love you guys. Peace out.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for talking, Mark.
Bowers See you out. soon. Hi, Mark Bogue.
John and Kathy. Thank
Hi,
you.
Susan.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Carol Ann.
Hi, take care, Suzanne. Nice to see your whole family, Suzanne.
So good to see you, Suzanne. Thanks for getting on.
What a great backdrop, too.
Take care.
Take care. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Oh my God, we're dropping like flies. I'm not going anywhere.
Clearly.
You're staying on to the bitter end. I love
I am. I'm waiting for my groceries to be delivered, so I can't make dinner anyway. It's a little early out here.
Well-
Kathy, how are you?
Kathy and I had to leave for a second, but while we were gone, she shared a really funny story about Joby. So
Well, you know, Betty Ann Zimmer.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, she tells me this story that that was the trip that they went to China.
She was on the Paris one too, Betty Ann was.
Yeah, but this one was the China one. And apparently it was your parents' anniversary this night. Okay, so they were having this big dinner. She said, the Chinese, they bring out everything, the fish, the whole head, everything. But your mom and dad are sitting and they're just going, you know how they bicker back and forth. And one-upmanship is really what they were doing. And Betty Ann says, I can't remember who it was, but she was sitting by your mom and she says, Joby, have you ever considered divorce? And your mom looked at her and said, divorce? Never. Murder? Yes.
Oh,
So,
Well, listen, thanks a lot for including us.
Yes,
We
yes.
loved hearing from everybody.
yes, it's good to see you
so
too.
good seeing you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Say hi to all the kids.
I will.
Yeah, say hi to all the
Yep.
girls.
Take
So
care.
nice. Stina and Zach, thank you for getting on. The boys must have gone to sleep already.
Oh, they're on? They were on?
Hey, Alan
Yep.
and Beth, could you turn on the camera so I could see you guys and say hi?
They don't want to listen to you, Barry.
They don't have to listen to me. I just want to see them. I haven't seen them in 2 years.
They're AFK. Away from.
Okay, be that way.
They're away from the keyboard.
Looks, Susie's drinking some Scotch whiskey in tribute.
Costa Rica.
Saturday, I'm out of here. Give me
Come
a-
on. Give Max my best.
All right, I will.
That's Stuart and Donna. Do you see Stuart and
I
Donna?
see Stuart and Donna Boo Bash. How we doing?
Gabe, tell me how it is. I think Lily and I we're still gonna try and make it out there in May. So let me know how it is.
Will do. It's my first time flying since 2019, or I don't even know
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
How's Nike?
I have no idea.
This is what he's IBM.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got mixed up. I haven't seen
It's a
him.
Sammy question. Who signed off?
Sam's with
Oh, they're both good corporations.
Yeah, they're both big. Yeah.
What do you do at IBM?
I did test software. I just moved into management now, so I run a small team in Tucson of developers and testers right now.
Fantastic. Wonderful. And what are you up to, Gabe?
I just finished a 5-month TV show on ABC called For Life, and now I'm going to Costa Rica for 2 weeks.
Whoa, you were producing or direct? What were you doing?
I just work in locations. I work in locations. One day producer.
So location sound or location what? I'm sorry.
Location management.
Got you. That's fantastic. Man,
Thank you.
I'll have to look for that. What's it called again?
For Life.
Okay, I'll see if I can see a little section of it on YouTube.
Is it gonna be
TV?
again and not be good?
What?
It's fine. Good. It's gonna get renewed for a 3rd season. You know, it's on primetime TV. But
Oh dang! I didn't realize it was an existing show. I thought it was new.
No, it's he just finished the 2nd season, right?
Yeah.
So how? Where in Manhattan are you living? Because I see her with Mom right now.
I live at home with Mom right now.
Oh well, that's the best place. Lower East, man, right near the Fillmore. Not
Why
far,
not?
right?
Why not, right?
You know, if I weren't living out here, I'd be there with you. But I like the weather out here.
Your story was hysterical at the museum at the Louvre. When
Yeah.
Mom was like, "We're 30 minutes behind."
She didn't care. I mean, like everybody could hear her. It was just like,
So true.
Susie,
but, you know, who else could have thrown that together? And I mean, look, for me, it was what an amazing opportunity. You know, she just said, "Here, do this, free trip. All you got to do is talk." Okay.
I know she could pull those things together, couldn't she?
That was with 7 Seas. What was his name? Steven? The guy
Marcus.
that ran 7 Seas, and he was a
Wasn't
little
it Marcus?
Pardon?
Marcus?
No, he ran anyway. He ran 7 Seas. I was supposed to be his roommate, but I went for Carl Cortez, and we had a blast. You want to hear a funny story?
Yes.
So Carl and I, he's looking for some entertainment, you know, because we went to the Folie Bergère, right? And we were staying not too far from what's the Rue Mange, you know, like that area. And so we ended up there. And so we start off the morning, you know, listening to the monks chant in Notre Dame. that evening, we end up at a strip joint in the red light district. And I'm thinking like, yep, sacred and profane. Now, of course, Joey didn't know about that.
Joe, I was like, Mom went to a strip joint. I can't imagine that
Just
one.
me and Carl. You know Carl Cortez.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I wish he
All
were.
right.
Good night. Yeah, it was fun, fun celebrating Joby's life with y'all, and really good to see you too. I mean, Zoom is so great.
It is great.
Yeah.
Donna, did you not want to say something tonight?
Muted. She's muted.
You're muted.
Good night. Love you.
Good night, Bear.
Good night, Bear.
Thanks.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, Donna.
Yeah. Hi, Gabe. How you doing? I think you're doing all right. Yeah, I do have something to say. If I hadn't participated in this tonight, I wouldn't have been able to fill in all the gray areas because I had such a parenthetical relationship with your mother because I always came in to the family relationship in a rescue mission.
Yeah.
And it was like, now I always knew she had these wonderful qualities, but at a time when, you know, mothers and daughters have contentious relationships, I was able to see it in these bits and pieces, and I wanted to see the whole thing. And this was wonderful because you knew it was there.
Yeah.
She's so original and unbelievable, so interesting and smart. And, you know, and it was just put together with all this salt and pepper, you know, and it was like when you said about, you know, are you a good witch or a bad witch? I saw the bad, but you always knew the good was there and you wanted to be around her all the time.
Yeah.
That was so.
Had that allure, didn't she?
It was so real, you know, like that. So anyway, and it was, you know, your dad was like, for me, was kind of like the antidote to all of that, despite everything that was going on. So anyway, thank you so much for, you know, letting us participate in this. This was really important.
So nice having you.
Yeah, it was great. I love the weaving back there. Your pieces are wonderful. Look behind your head there. It's just a great setting.
It's a nice.
Thank you so much. It was just it was wonderful.
You're so welcome. It's so good having y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks. I know we should have regular Zoom chats.
Zoom, you know, I've been starting to do this with my friends, you know, just like in the last couple of months. It's really worth it.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're out to, I mean, the experience I've had, especially with my women friends, it's like you're out to dinner. I swear, it's no different. You just kind of get right into the, you know, the sight, the visual of it, and it's everything else falls away. It's great. Anyway, thanks a lot. It was just wonderful.
Jerry and Mary, it was great seeing you.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Did you say something?
Mute. Oh, good.
Gary, talk.
Oh.
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing, buddy?
Love you, Jerry and Mary.
Yeah, we're still here.
We can see ya.
Oh, okay. About time to go to bed.
It is. I tried to get Donnie. I wanted Donnie to say something tonight, but I didn't get him in time. So he would have been funny to listen to.
Yeah. All righty. Well, thanks for inviting us.
Thanks for the invite.
Love you. Love everyone.
We'll see you.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you.
Good night.
Night.
David, thanks a lot for doing this. This is good.
Oh, good job. Great. Your rabbi's wonderful.
Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice.
Awesome.
All right. Love ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.